A lot. We also have our correspondent Vinod Kumar who's joining us from Dubai. Vinod, Iran must now make peace. This is what Donald Trump said after US strike on Iran's nuke sites. Will the matter go to the negotiating table now? That is the big question everyone is hoping for, everyone is asking.
So the diplomatic efforts to resolve this escalating Iran-Israel conflict have now reached a critical impasse as the war enters its second week. With the foreign minister saying that he has categorically ruled out the negotiations with the United States while Israeli military strikes continue. We had intense diplomatic meetings last week at Geneva, New York, Istanbul, where the European Union had agreed to mediate. But Iran had maintained its willingness to engage with the European powers, but has drawn a firm red line against direct negotiations with Washington, insisting that Israeli attacks must cease before any meaningful dialogue can be made. Iranian officials have also responded by warning that any US strikes will have everlasting consequences in the region. This may be a stark pointer that a wider West Asian war may be the result of these attacks. And let's see from the point of Israel. All this latest fiasco started with the October 23 massacre by Hamas in Gaza. After that particular event, Israel has unleashed its entire might against Hamas in Gaza, and also they have parallelly struck their targets in Hezbollah, Houthis. So you see, we must see that who exactly is this Hezbollah? Hezbollah is nothing but a proxy arm of Iran. It's the greatest insurance policy of Iran. If any day US or Israel attacks Iran, they have this insurance policy that Hezbollah, who are just on the north of Israel, will be able to counter-attack Israel, and that gave Iran a significant strength. But after Israel systematically taken out their senior leaders, their movie-like pager attacks and walkie-talkie attacks, Hassan Nasrallah, the head of the Hezbollah, is gone. And concurrently, what happened in Syria is that Syrian Assad dynasty was a strong supporter of Iran for many decades. Bashar the dynasty fell on this December, and he has fled to Russia. So that means that entire Syria has gone from the ambit of Iran. Moreover, the largest airstrikes that Israel has ever conducted is not in Gaza, not in Iran, but was in Syria, to make sure that the airways are clear. All the radar sites, all the anti-aircraft guns, anti-aircraft missiles are completely destroyed. Now Iran is in a good vantage point of taking military action against Iran. So from the point of Israel, it doesn't make any sense for Israel to go to the diplomatic negotiating table, because they have a very high vantage point. This is also, we have to also understand that Israel has taken the Golan Heights back from Syria after the 1973 war. So they have the physical vantage point also from the perspective of the Mount Heron. So all of Iran's drone attack, missile attack can be easily intercepted with the capacity of
so no negotiations as of now. No negotiations as well. Doesn't seem like. Doesn't seem like there is negotiations will take place.
At this point, the recent new developments in Geneva, where Iran held diplomatic talks with their European counterparts, there was no way forward. So diplomatic talks are currently on a backtrack.
I'll get back to you, Vinod. We also have Dr. Rajan Kumar. He's professor. He's a School of International Studies, JNU. He's joining us live on the broadcast. Dr. Rajan, thank you so much for joining on the broadcast. First of all, to begin with, I would like to ask you that, what do you make of this entire situation, what is happening? US has now officially joined the conflict of Iran and Israel. And now, after strikes, President Donald Trump is saying that Iran must make peace. What do you make of this entire situation, which is there right now in front of us?
First, thank you for having me here.
Pleasure.
Let me tell you that this what we are witnessing is a massive escalation, something that we have not seen in the case of West Asia in the last 3-4 decades. Previous presidents of United States avoided attacking Iran. Iran is an arch enemy of Israel as well as United States, but all the previous presidents of United States, they avoided this kind of escalation. So what you are saying is completely unprecedented and is much worse, even in comparison to U.S. invasion in Iraq or U.S. invasion in Afghanistan, because the implications are much more wider. So what are the points? What are the takeaways? Very quickly, the first thing is that at this moment there is no space for negotiation. And as you are rightly pointing out, your correspondents also pointing out that at this point of time, President Trump might be talking about peace and making some kind of deal, but what he's expecting is a complete surrender, complete capitulation of.
The Libya model, are you talking about? Are you talking about the Libya model?
Yeah, I'll come to that, Libya and other models.
Okay.
First, there is no space for negotiation, and also there is a sense, even in United States, that Trump, in a way, misled his own people, because he kept saying that there is a space for negotiation. He also said that for the next 2 weeks there'll be no attack, and he's taking time, and then he'll decide. He may or may not. So that kind of impression was given. So 2 weeks time was given. Also, third and most important point is that what we are witnessing is a very wide escalation of the conflict. And let me tell you that the motives of Israel and United States motives are not limited to destroying the nuclear capacity of Iran. Basically, they are trying to degrade Iran. They are trying to humiliate. They are expecting complete capitulation and surrender of Iran. So in the coming days, we are going to witness a very wide conflict in the region, because Iran is not going to surrender the way, because also it's not just about surrender. Israel, President Netanyahu, Prime Minister Netanyahu has also kind of made a point about eliminating the regime, etc. So it's much wider than the nuclear, destroying the nuclear capacity. I think United States and Israel, they're working on a strategy which will lead to some kind of regime change. How will that happen? That's a kind of the issue for Israel and America, because there is a gap of 1,300 kilometers. They are not the neighboring country. Neither Israel and Iran are not the neighboring country. There are a few countries in between, buffer states like Jordan, Syria, Iraq, etc. So the issue now that they might be discussing in Washington and Tel Aviv, that do they plan to send ground forces or not? Because unless until you do that, you will not decimate the military structure of Iran. You will not completely destroy, or you will not be successful in changing the regime. So those are the strategies that Washington might be thinking at this moment. And coming to your question, what kind of model that Libya or Iraq or Afghanistan? In fact, let me tell you that US till now was very ambiguous about its strategy. US didn't know what to do, because in the Make America Great Again MAGA camp, which is the support base of Trump, if MAGA camp is divided. There are a lot of people who preferred a hands-off approach. They did not want to repeat the intervention that they did in Afghanistan or in Iraq or in Libya earlier, because those policies have not succeeded. Say, for instance, in Afghanistan, United States has spent more than $2 trillion, and after that, Taliban came back to power, and it led to massive destruction. It led to massive, this refugee crisis, humanitarian crisis, and also the American American soldiers were killed. So, we do not exactly know what kind of policy United States and Tel Aviv would like to follow at this point of time. But what we are witnessing is a very wide conflict with a very long-term implications in the coming days and also years.
Okay, you're saying that in the coming days, it will be a wide conflict. What we are experiencing right now, MAGA camp was divided, and the government of America didn't know what to do at that point in time. But with time, they decided to strike Iran. And now it is much more beyond destroying the nuke sites of Iran. It is about changing the regime. That's what you're saying.
Absolutely, without any doubt, because
this is a new point that has come in.
Well, no, not really, because the immediately after the attack that was made by Israel on Iran, I'm talking the first attack, and then if you listen to the speech of Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel, he said that he would expect the brave people of Iran to rise up against the regime which is corrupt and which has created this crisis. So he's exhorting the people of Iran, and had they been targeting just the nuclear installations, the case would have been different. But they eliminated the military leaders, they target police stations, they also targeted some of the media institutions, etc. So let me tell you that the target, and now in a lot of places, if you see the Western media, etc., are saying that the policy is not limited to just targeting the nuclear.
It is much more beyond that.
And,
Iran,
and also because just 30 seconds, also because they know that if they leave it like this, the nuclear scientists are there, resources are there, the regime is there. If you do not completely control the regime, this regime will again come up with much more security plan to make the nuclear bombs. And that's why thinking, now what? So basically, the goal is much broader than just destroying the nuclear installations.
okay, I'll come back to you. We have Vinod Kumar, DD India correspondent. We have him from Dubai. Vinod, some reports say Iran has said that it won't allow nuclear development to stop. What do you make of this statement? And I'm again referring to the uranium enrichment because it requires very less percentage when it comes to, the usage in a fair terms. But when it comes to 90%, a nuclear weapon could be made out of it. And some reports also suggest that Iran had enriched about 60% of the uranium. So what do you make of this particular statement that Iran has said that it won't allow nuclear development to stop?
Siddharth, this is at the core of the issues that what we are seeing, the Iranian nuclear enrichment program. This was always an issue with Iran that the West and Israel has accused of Iran making weapons-grade uranium from the 1990s onwards. Every time it was like 2 or 3 years away. 5 months back, Tulsi Gabbard, the National Intelligence Director of the United States, said that Iran is nowhere near to making weapons-grade uranium. But day before yesterday, she took a U-turn and she aligned along with the United States President that the intelligence community may be wrong. Has Iran achieved 60% weapons-grade uranium? We do not know. For the nuclear reactor, we need only uranium-235 to 2 to 3% for successful fission. But for achieving the critical mass for a weapons-grade uranium, you need around 90%. And the 60% mark is a critical point. If it takes 30 days to make enriched uranium from 0 to 60%, it will take another only 1 or 2 days to make from 60 to 90%.
Right.
So that means that Iran might have acquired that capacity, or Iran is like 2 or 3 years away. The most important point here is that International Atomic Energy Agency has reported that Iran now possesses enough enriched uranium to potentially produce several nuclear weapons based on its findings of a certain category of enriched uranium from its some undisclosed sites. Most probably it will be from Fordo or Natanz site. IAEA has got that kind of enriched uranium, and Iran has also denied, not allowed the inspectors from IAEA to access those places. Whether Iran should have nuclear weapons or not, that depends upon the person who you ask. See, in 2003, 2004, George Bush has said that Iran, North Korea are the axis of evil, and North Korea attained nuclear power after that, and it acted as a great deterrent against them. Now there is no warmongering in that area. But
indeed,
here
Vinod.
Iran does, we are not sure
indeed, tricky situation. Yes, I got you. We have paucity of time, Vinod. Let me just quickly go to Professor Kumar. Professor, just got the information that Iran's foreign minister will travel to Moscow tomorrow to meet President Putin. What do you make of this?
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting development, and I also gathered from the media news reports that he's visiting, and that's a plan. Russia, as you know, Russia and China both have condemned the attack. But let me tell you that Russia is not in the position at this moment to get involved directly by either supplying weapons, because Russia is on war in Ukraine, and also because Russia has its own ongoing negotiation with Trump. So Russia would not like to antagonize Trump at this point of time, because Trump might change his policy towards Ukraine, that he has not been supporting militarily at this point. But if Russia starts supporting Iran, then the President Trump also might change the policy. But also, let me tell you that this is the most trickiest part. That if Russia decides to support Iran, then we are into a world which would be witnessing a world war kind of situation. Why? Because Israel, United States, backed by many of the European countries on one side, and Russia, if Russia comes into play, then also expect China to play a very constructive and positive role in terms of saving and supplying weapons to Iran. But I do not think that kind of situation is emerging at this moment.
Okay.
Russia will provide diplomatic support. Russia will claim that it would like to negotiate between the parties. It will also try to put pressure in its own way on Putin and other countries to go for negotiation. But Russia will not directly get involved in the war. Yes, that's what I see.
Okay, so the big news right now is that Iran's foreign minister will travel to Moscow tomorrow to meet President Putin. And like our expert just said, if Russia will support Iran, then Trump might have to change his policies. What will happen? The situation right now is critical. As the events will unfold, we'll give you the updates. But as of now, thank you so much, Professor Kumar, for joining in on the broadcast.